2010 was now 10 years ago, where Tom Brady became the first ever unanimous MVP in NFL history. It was Brett Favre's last season in the league, where he retired with pretty much almost every major quarterback passing record. And the 7-9 Seattle Seahawks were the first team to ever have a losing season and still make the playoffs. They ended up beating the Saints at home, but it would be the Green Bay Packers who would wound up winning the Super Bowl with quarterback Aaron Rodgers versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. The 2010 NFL Draft consisted of 7 players who would make the Pro Bowl. All of these players would play at least 5 seasons. 3 of these players came from the same college in the top 5, and there would only be 1 Super Bowl winner. Quarterback Sam Bradford would go first overall to the then St. Louis Rams out of Oklahoma. An All-American, Player of the Year, and 2008 Heisman, Sam Bradford was looked at as a top quarterback prospect despite having his junior season ended with shoulder surgery. Although he entered the draft, he didn't throw at the combine and even came in overweight. He was 15 pounds overweight. He came in about like 235, something like that. But he would still go on to be the first Ram quarterback taken in the first round since Bill Munson in 1964. All rookies today can blame him for getting such limited contracts now because the Rams in 2010 gave Sam Bradford a 6-year, $78 million contract, which will be the most ever a rookie has ever gotten. Now with this, he still went on to win Offensive Rookie of the Year by throwing for over 3,500 yards, 18 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. He broke Peyton Manning's record for most completed passes for 326, and he would start all 16 games. The following year, an ankle injury would keep him out for most of the season, and the Rams would go from 7-9 down to 2-14. Bradford would come back in 2012 and lead the Rams to a 7-8-1 record, but the next 2 seasons, he would be injured yet again and would only play a total of 7 games. In 2015, he would be traded to the Philadelphia Eagles in exchange for Nick Foles and draft picks, and he will once again have a 7-win record. He would be 7-7 with the Eagles. He only played in Philadelphia for 1 season and got traded to the Minnesota Vikings right after Carson Wentz was drafted. Now 2016 was easily the best year of his career. Bradford would throw for 3,800 yards, 20 touchdowns, just 5 interceptions, and will have a completion percentage of 71.6. Injuries would continue to haunt him in 2017, and by 2018, he was with the Arizona Cardinals and was eventually benched in favor of Josh Rosen. Ndamukong Suh was the 2nd overall pick taken by the Detroit Lions out of Nebraska. An All-American and Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year, Ndamukong Suh was seen as the most dominant defensive tackle in the last 30 years. He would win Defensive Rookie of the Year with 10 sacks and would also make the Pro Bowl and be an All-Pro player. Early on in his career, he would be known for his dirty play, and lots of fines would be the result of it. He would be fined almost 10 times and lose over thousands of dollars before he would even join Miami in 2015. And in 2015 to 2017, Suh would only make the Pro Bowl 1 time and have over 15.5 sacks. In 2018, he was a part of the Los Angeles Rams team that played in the Super Bowl against the Patriots, and he played right alongside Aaron Donald. And now, Ndamukong Suh is in Tampa Bay. Gerald McCoy will be the 3rd overall pick and the 2nd defensive tackle, and he will be taken out of Oklahoma. This is the guy that Ndamukong Suh is replacing in Tampa Bay. McCoy was an All-American, All-Big 12 player, and another defensive tackle that was dominant like Suh. He was the highest drafted Oklahoma defender since Tony Casillas in 1986 when he was taken by the Atlanta Falcons. From 2010 to 2018, Gerald McCoy would have 54.5 sacks, 6 Pro Bowl selections, and be an All-Pro before he was released and signed with the Carolina Panthers. McCoy's only season with the Panthers, he had 5 sacks where he started all 16 games, and he also had 2 forced fumbles. He now signed a 3-year contract with the Dallas Cowboys. Offensive tackle Trent Williams was the 3rd player to come out of Oklahoma in the top 5. Some people know him as the guy that punched Richard Sherman in the face a couple years ago, and it's kind of funny now because they're both teammates. But in college, Trent Williams was a unanimous All-American and seen as the best offensive tackle available in the draft. He's lived up to that, being a 7-time Pro Bowler, playing in 120 games in Washington, and now he'll be in San Francisco alongside Richard Sherman. Eric Berry was the 5th overall pick at safety out of Tennessee. He was seen as a top 10 pick and the best scouted safety since Sean Taylor. He was the highest drafted Tennessee Vol since Jamal Lewis. 92 tackles, 2 sacks, 5 TFLs, and 4 interceptions would get him to the Pro Bowl in his rookie season, but the following year in 2011, a torn ACL would cut his season short. He would bounce back, making the Pro Bowl in 2012, despite the Kansas City Chiefs going 2-14, being the worst team in football. 2014 easily could have been the end of Eric Berry's career and his life. He had cancer and pretty much missed most of the season. This caused him to lose a good amount of weight and wouldn't recover until the following year. The next 2 seasons, Eric Berry would win Comeback Player of the Year as well as 2 Pro Bowl selections. From 2017 to 2018, Eric Berry would only play 3 games right after signing a longer contract, and the Chiefs would release him. And right now, he's a free agent that's still trying to get back into the league. Russel OConnor was the 6th overall pick and offensive tackle out of Oklahoma State. Being drafted by the Seattle Seahawks, OConnor is the only Super Bowl champion as he won in 2013 against the Denver Broncos. And he's also a 2-time Pro Bowler. He spent 6 years in Seattle before going to Denver and then signing with the Chargers for a 4-year, $53 million deal, and right now, he's in Carolina. He was traded there in exchange for guard Trey Turner just 2 months ago. Joe Hayden was the 7th overall pick, cornerback out of Florida, taken by the Cleveland Browns. A unanimous All-American, Hayden was seen as one of the best DBs in the draft alongside Eric Berry. He would have a great rookie season with 6 interceptions, 18 passes deflected, played in all 16 games, but started only 7 of them. He wouldn't make the Pro Bowl again until 2013-2014, and by then, he would be a full-time starter and known as a top 10 corner in the NFL. The drop-off in play led to him being released in 2017 after not taking a pay cut after the Browns couldn't find a way to trade him. He wouldn't sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he's still there and even made a Pro Bowl with them last season in 2019. Rolando McClain was the 8th overall pick, taken by the Oakland Raiders out of Alabama at linebacker. A national champion and All-American, McClain was the highest drafted Bama linebacker since Keith McKinnis in 1990, taken by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. McClain would also have the shortest career out of everyone in the top 10. He started off his career pretty well, and his best season was in 2011, where he had 99 tackles, 5 sacks, 8 TFLs, and 14 pass deflections. But after that season, it just goes downhill for his career, and he wouldn't play again until the 2014 season. And by then, he was playing with the Dallas Cowboys. He was traded to Dallas after Cowboys linebacker Sean Lee ended up getting hurt for this season, so they needed somebody to replace him. McClain came in for 2 seasons and played pretty well. He had 80 tackles in both of those seasons, but he got hurt. And then later on, he also got suspended for substance abuse multiple times. An indefinite suspension would keep him out of the NFL until the 2019 season, so it wouldn't be reinstated until August of last year, but the NFL suspended him again in December of 2019. CJ Spiller was the first running back taken off the board by the Buffalo Bills out of Clemson. He would have more of a slow start to his career in comparison to the other players in the top 10. In his rookie season, he only started 1 game and didn't even have 4 yards a carry. With Fred Jackson going down in 2011, he would play in all 16 games, have 560 yards, 4 touchdowns, and average 5 yards a carry. 2012 was Spiller's breakout season, where he had 1,200 yards on 207 carries, 6 touchdowns, and averaged 6 yards a carry. He would have 900 yards the following year, but after that, he would continue to go downhill and bounce around from team to team to the Saints, the Jets, the Seahawks, and the Chiefs, and his career would be over after 2017. Tyson Alualu was the 10th pick and the 3rd defensive tackle taken out of California by the Jacksonville Jaguars. A top defensive tackle and defensive end, some people believe that he was drafted way too high. From 2010 to 2013, he would start every game and have just 11.5 sacks. And he would also go through 3 different coaching changes during that time too. In 2014, he would lose his starting spot and would be moved to backup, and then later, he would be moved back to defensive end. He would leave the Jaguars to go sign with the Steelers in 2017, and that's where he's pretty much been there since. He's never made a Pro Bowl, but he's just been good enough to stick around since then. The 2010 top 10 picks, as well as the entire 2010 draft as a whole, has carved out some pretty good careers for themselves, and I expect the 2020 top 10 and the entire draft picks as a whole to carve out great careers for themselves. Thank you for watching the video. If you liked the video, like and comment, and if you like me, subscribe.